Good morning. Good morning. Um, Happy to be here this morning. I am Dr. Paris Adon. I am the Director of Student Services here at Howard University. We have a umbrella of services in our office. We have three particular offices that we will discuss today. The Office of Student Services has a variety of services, and so but before I start the introductions of each office, I'll introduce our team members. First, we have, in no particular order, Miss Erica Bird, who supports our Student Support and Advocacy office. We have Mr. Jonathan Gibbs, who supports our Military and Veterans office. We have Miss Katisha Goodson, who also supports our Military and Veterans office. We have Miss Jasmine Hardy, who supports Student Support and Advocacy. And then in our student accessibility team is Dr. Chantel Thompson and Miss Ashley Goff. So thank you, team members, for joining as well. But in the Office of Student Services, as I stated earlier, we have three particular offices that are within our umbrella of services. First, let's talk about the Office of Military and Veteran Services. We'll take a deep dive into that one first. And then secondly, we'll talk about the Office of Student Advocacy and Support, and then we'll talk about the Office of Student Accessibility. All right, so those are the three offices that we serve on our team. So let's talk about Military and Veteran Services first. So the Military and Veteran Service Office is the office that will support you, provide advocacy for mostly dependents. Most of our students that are here that are military connected are dependents, okay? But however, we do serve active military service members. And also we manage or handle all of the benefits as far as your educational benefits are concerned with your finances, right? So we will process certifications from the VA. So if your parent was in the military and they have the military benefits, you will be able to use those benefits and access those benefits through our office, and we can certify you. We also can link you to the VA directly to provide additional support. We also advocate and we liaise with the VA for you or with you to help ensure that you are certified and that all of your funds are on your particular account. All right, here are some of the different types of chapters that we certify here at Howard. Also, we also are, going through each chapter, make sure you're certified correctly. There are a lot of nuances with the chapters and aligning it to your particular account. So when you submit your paperwork, when you do our survey, please ensure that you check the right chapter in which you're applying for your benefits, so we can make sure that your benefits are processed correctly. We would like to do that for you. And then on the next slide, you'll see how you can use the code to link to the VA office, which is this one. So all students will do a VA online application, okay, and we'll process those except for Chapter 31 students, but we'll process those through our office. Uh, Again, Mr. Gibbs and Ms. Goodson will be able to assist you with your certification. But also, if you receive the monthly benefits, which is different, you receive a monthly stipend, it's a little bit different for you. So you make sure you want to talk to one of our VA coordinators to provide assistance for you. Again, there are more chapters and they're very specific. So some of those benefits do not apply to tuition and fees. So please, 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 please make sure you reach out to us, and I'll provide all of the contact information at the end of the presentation so that you are aware on how to contact our office for military and veteran services. And remember, it's not just for those that are active duty members, it's for dependents as well. About 80% of the students who will interact with this office are dependents. So if you are dependent or you're an active duty military, make sure you connect with our office so we can make sure your tuition benefits or your military benefits are aligned to your particular account. Also wanted to point out to you that we have several available opportunities for those who are veterans or those that are actually who are not veterans as well. We have a new lounge in the lower level of the quad. So come down on 4th Street if you're in College Hall South, or if you're in the Harriet Tubman Quad, or if you're in College Hall North or the Annex, we're on the exact same street. We're in the quad in the lower level, so we would love to have you visit our new lounge. Computers there. It's a good place to study, or it's a good quiet space for you if you need some quiet time. Oftentimes we have students who live off campus who just come go to a couple of classes, and then they come sit in our lounge for the rest of the day to study, or to have some downtime. We also have several VA work opportunities for you, work study opportunities that is funded through the VA. It's not funded from your typical federal work study program. So if you are a VA student, you can take advantage of the work study opportunities that we have. We also have military connected events or sponsored events outside of Howard University that we connect you to. I know the Wounded Warrior Project has visited us a couple of times, and they have had several opportunities that they've presented to our students. Also, we have some student leadership opportunities with NVLF. We have, which is the National Veterans Leadership Foundation. We have a group of staff members who just returned from Ohio State University, where they were able to participate in some leadership training and a conference that will help Howard University propel our program here. We also had some students go to Florida for a student organization. That was a really good experience for those students. Also, we have, as I stated earlier, our lounge, but we're planning to expand it or make it a little bit more accessible or resourceful for everybody. So hopefully you'll be able to come down and visit the lounge and see where we are, and participate in the activities that we have going on here for those that are military connected. It's also for those who are not military connected, but particularly the lounges for those who are military connected. So, all right. Again, here's our contact information. If you have questions, okay, please email veterans@howard.edu. That's the best way to contact us. That's the best way to get a rapid response. You can call as well. You can visit us in person as well, but the best way to get questions answered or services provided or anything that you're looking for is to email us at veterans@howard.edu. We feverishly check the inbox, so please, please, please ensure that if you have questions related to GI Bill, post 9/11, any military benefits that are related to service members or military connected families, please make sure you email veterans@howard.edu, and also visit our website. We keep our website up to date with the latest happenings within the VA, because as we know, the VA changes things, and some of these rules change and some of these benefits change. So make sure you visit our website and visit veterans@howard.edu. All right, so that's our military and veterans office. So our second office is the Office of Student Advocacy and Support. Okay, this office is where we provide exactly what it says in the title: advocacy and support. And what we do in this office is we have what we call non-clinical case managers. Okay, in addition to the non-clinical case managers, we have food resources and support. So let's talk about the non-clinical case management first. So in the non-clinical case management realm, this is where if you're a new student to Howard, or if you're an existing student, but we want to pay particular attention to our new students, and you have an issue with anything, right? You have a concern on how to talk to a professor, you're lost on campus, or you're just having a hard time trying to navigate, you can come to our office, which is located in campus, College Hall South, but I'll talk to you about that. Or you can email us at studentservices@howard.edu and just reach out and say, I'm having a concern. And we will get a non-clinical case manager assigned to you quickly to help rectify your situation. For example, say you're having a hard time connecting with someone at financial aid or whatever the office may be. You're unable to talk to a professor because you just don't know how to navigate campus, or you don't know how to navigate the environment right now. you can simply reach out to us and we will make sure you get a case manager assigned to help you navigate and connect you to the right office. Also, if you're having a difficult time, if you're having some extenuating circumstance, for example, not to wish anything negative on any student here, but if you have someone pass away in your family, if you're dealing with bereavement and you need to miss class, you can reach out to us. We will inform your professors for you, and we will make sure that we can provide additional support and also link you to additional services on campus. Or, for example, say you have a family emergency and you need to go back home for a week or two. We will email your professors or contact your professors along with you to support you through whatever your emergent need is or whatever your emergency is to ensure that you have support so you don't fall behind with your academics. All right, so secondly, we also have food resources or a food pantry that we provide resources to students who are food insecure. I know when I was in college, I was hungry quite often, and I didn't really realize that I was food insecure. But here at Howard, we don't want you to experience that. So if you are feeling hungry quite often, or if you don't feel like you have access to enough food, please visit us. We'll make sure that you get an appointment at the pantry, and you can visit what we call the store, and essentially shop there for free because we have free food resources for students. We have some partnerships through some organizations within the city where they provide food resources to Howard University, and we are able to just provide an abundance of food for students who are in need. Particularly, this is for students who don't have a meal plan, and those that live off campus, because sometimes it can be difficult when you don't have a meal plan and you're in school trying to make sure you get all your credits in, and you're having difficulty locating food. Make sure you come visit us. But even if you're on campus, and you have a meal plan and you're having a difficult time finding food that's sufficient for you, make sure you reach out to us to take advantage of the resources. Not only do we have food, but we also have hygiene products as well, right? So if you want to visit the store and you have a hard time finding hygiene products or school supplies, I know these days we're mostly using computers, but we do have some traditional school supplies like pens, paper, pencils, and a variety of things. So just use those resources because they're here for you. Make sure you reach out if you need support, and I'll provide the contact information. If you want to visit the pantry, or if you are looking to receive some type of support from non-clinical case management, simply email studentservices@howard.edu. Okay, that's studentservices@howard.edu. And at the conclusion of my presentation, I'll be sure to summarize and go over all of the contact information so you have that. All right. So let's talk about our last office, again, in no particular order, but the Office of Student Accessibility. Okay. The Office of Student Accessibility provides essentially accommodations. If you're coming from high school, which I presume most of you are, and you had an IEP or a 504 plan, this is the office that you want to visit. Okay. Also, if you don't have an IEP, which is an individualized education program, if you don't have an IEP or if you did not have a 504 plan, you still may be eligible for accommodations at the post-secondary level. But I'm going to take a deep dive into explaining the process, explaining what the documentation looks like, and explaining what it really means to have accommodations at the post-secondary level compared to the high school level. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the laws because the laws are different for K-12 to higher education, and the documentation requirements are different. IDEA is the law from K through 12, and then we deal with the ADAA here at the post-secondary level, and then I'll discuss with you the disability support services process. You'll hear disability support services throughout my presentation because we're rebranding the office to the Office of Student Accessibility, but we just want to make sure that students who have disabilities are clear that they can visit this office for support. So let's talk about the laws, the documentation, IDEA, and the process. All right, so IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, okay, that is germane to those who are in K through 12, right? So if you had an individualized education program, or if you had a 504 plan, someone at your school had a meeting every year. It was your teachers, related service providers, meaning like a therapist or a speech and language pathologist or a school administrator. And they ensured you had what's called a FAPE, a free appropriate public education, right? Um, it's a little bit different here at the post-secondary level where there's not a team to have an annual review, but there are accommodations and testing coordinators who will help you navigate on what accommodations you're actually seeking. Also, in high school, teachers were allowed to modify curriculum. In other words, if there's an algebra course and the algebra teacher provided 30 algebra problems to all of the students, if you had modifications, sometimes the teacher could provide you with just 10 algebra problems and you were able to be successful that way. Here at the post-secondary level, we cannot modify our course. So in other words, if an English teacher requires 5 papers to be written, then that's what the course requires. We cannot modify that course, but we can provide accommodations, okay? And what that means is accommodations are things like preferential seating, extra time on tests, in some occasions, extended time for assignments on some occasions. For some occasions, we also provide housing accommodations or residential accommodations or emotional support accommodations. So it's a difference from K-12 where there's more of a team and that team ensures that the IEP is being implemented. This is a different level of education. When you're in higher ed, there is not a team. It's more of a person who helps you navigate, and then you're going to have to self-advocate to navigate with your professors. So I hope that's a clear delineation between IDEA and the ADA, where it's a different type of law for students in K-12 compared to students at the higher ed level. So let's talk about the documentation requirements. Okay, if you are seeking accommodations as a college student, the documentation requirements are different. When you're in K-12, the documents are generated for you. Here at the post-secondary level, you have to provide documents to us so we can make a determination on what reasonable accommodations are available for you. Okay. For example, when you got an IEP or a 504 plan, those documents do not transfer to higher ed. So in other words, if you apply for accommodations and you submit your individualized education program, that's not sufficient documentation to transfer to higher ed, okay? Okay, so those documents do not transfer. The documents that we need to see are the psychoeducational assessment with quantitative data or the comprehensive clinical assessment with comprehensive data that shows you have a clinical diagnosis or some type of diagnosis that indicates that you require accommodations at the post-secondary level. More so, the documentation, if you have a medical disability or a medical concern, you can submit those documents as well to our office to ensure you get a medical an accommodation academically for your medical concerns. For example, you could be a diabetic, and you could possibly get some accommodations as a diabetic. But there are a number of conditions or disabilities that you could qualify for accommodations for. So I recommend you reach out to our office. I'll provide you all of the contact information and visit our website, because our website has a clear distinction of what the documentation should look like when it's submitted to our office for a request for accommodations. I also recommend that you apply for accommodations early before the semester starts. As soon as you get a course schedule, please submit your request for accommodations, because oftentimes we have students who wait until the end of the semester. And I want to be clear that accommodations are not retroactive, so we can't go back. Okay, so documentation is important, and it's important to submit your request ASAP. All right, so let's talk about how do you go about getting accommodations, right? So if I'm a new student walking in the door at HU and I know I need accommodations, how do I go about doing that? So first thing you need to do is contact our office. I'll give you the contact information at the end of the presentation to make sure you have it. So you contact our office, and then you're going to complete the intake process, which is you're going to submit all of your documentation that shows you have a disability, and you're going to submit all of your documentation that shows you need accommodations. Okay. You can send an IEP, but again, an IEP just does not transfer. But all the information that you want to submit to our office, please do so in the intake process. There are also forms on our website that are PDFs that you'll need to sign um, for us to process your application. So go to our website. There's some PDFs on there you need to sign and fill out. Complete those documents in their entirety, and then submit your documentation with your application. Okay. And once you do that, you'll present your documentation to one of our accommodations and testings coordinator. We'll reach out to you for a date to have what we call a interactive process discussion. And that person will, one of our accommodations and testing coordinator will ask you, what barriers are you experiencing? What's the challenge that's prohibiting you access to education, right? So you need to explain, your disability and explain how your requests for accommodations will help you access education. All right. And so then after that conversation, we will issue what's called an accommodations letter. Okay. And that accommodations letter is a letter that we only send to you. Another difference from high school and college is we only send the accommodations letter to you directly. Okay. And once that letter comes to you directly, it's your responsibility as the adult student to share that letter with your professors. Okay. We cannot share your accommodations letter with your professors because it's your personal information. So we have students who share their accommodations letters with some of their professors. For example, we have students who only want to get accommodations or who only want their accommodations for their math courses. So they share their accommodations letter with their math instructors only, and they don't share it with their English instructors. That's totally your choice, right? So it's totally up to you on how you want to proceed with sharing your accommodations letter. I just want to be clear because in high school, there's a team of people who are aware of your IEP plan, or your 504 plan. So they are aware of what accommodations you need or modifications you need. But at the college level, we will not share your accommodations letter with professors or anyone else on staff at Howard University for that matter. We'll only share it with you directly, the student. Even if your parent calls, if your parent calls and says, can you send my child accommodations letter to me? We cannot send accommodations letter to your parent. We will send it to you as a student directly, and you can send it to your parent, or you can invite your parents to participate in the process, but we cannot annihilate it. I think that's about it for the process. But again, I'm going to share all of the contact information with you at the end of the presentation so that you are clear on what you need to do to submit information. All right, so here we are. So Office of Student Services, again, in summary, is an umbrella office. We have 3 particular offices that we support. Those offices include, as a recap, the Office of Military and Veteran Services. So if you are a service member or a military connected family and you are using your benefits for education, please contact us at veterans@howard.edu. We're located on 4th Street in the Quad, the lower level, right beside IVPP and the Counseling Center. We're all in the same area. So if you are a service member or a military connected person, so in other words, if you're a dependent, you can contact veterans@howard.edu. You want to use your benefits post 9/11 or your education benefits. So I'm going to reiterate that again. Again, we feverishly check our inboxes. So please email veterans@howard.edu for questions or concerns about your education benefits. Secondly, our Office of Student Advocacy and Support is located in College Hall South at the moment. Again, that's on 4th Street as well. You can contact us if you have an extenuating circumstance or if you're looking for personal hygiene products, food products or food items, and you feel like you need some support on campus that's not clinical. When I say non-clinical, I mean like you don't need to see a therapist for therapy. You need to just need support in navigating things that are on campus. This is where we can help you. Please visit us on 4th Street, or it's a lot easier and you'll get a faster response if you simply email studentservices@howard.edu. I will be happy to support you. Just to reiterate one more time, if you are having an extenuating circumstance, or if you are insecure about food, or you have some personal hygiene products or something that you need support with, or if you need school supplies, we have some supplies as well. Simply email studentservices@howard.edu. Okay. And then finally, our Office of Student Accessibility. This is the office where we provide disability support. And I failed to mention that we also have a testing center in UGL, which is listed here. So the disability support office is in UGL. You can visit that office if you come down to the lower level 1, right in the UGL. That office provides a private testing room if you need a private testing room, or a reduced distraction testing environment. So that's where you would process your accommodations request. If you have questions, concerns, or anything related to an individualized education program or a 504 plan that you had in high school, and you would like to receive accommodations, even if you didn't have those things, and you find yourself needing some type of accommodations request, submit all of your documentation, the verification of a disability to this office, and that office can be reached at oss.disabilityservices@howard.edu. Again, that's the Office of Student Accessibility. I know that's a lot of information. That's a lot of stuff to process. So that's why I highly recommend that you simply just reach out to us via email. You can call as well and visit, and that's our main number at the top. But we highly recommend that you simply shoot us an email, and we can support you while you're here at Howard. I would highly recommend that if you just have a concern or anything, just email studentservices@howard.edu, and we will feverishly check our inboxes to ensure that you have support. All right. Thank you for your time, and welcome to Howard.